people can just enter the chats and just let me know they're here. And in the interactions, there's a bit where you can put just your experience level of your Instagram knowledge. So yeah, if you could rate that, that'd be amazing. So I can see what everyone's putting there. Oh, we've got someone put something already. That's great. Perfect. At least I know people are here, because this is quite a strange experience where you're just literally talking to yourself. So I really appreciate that so far. Yeah, so get your sort of polls in there. We're just going to wait like maybe a minute just for people to just jump in, just in case we're having any technical difficulties. And then we're going to get straight to all the good stuff. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, we've got a strong 2 out of 5 at the moment for knowledge. So that's good. I was hoping that'd be the case and we wouldn't end up with just a room full of Instagram experts. And then, they could have taught the webinar instead of myself. But yeah, hope everyone's all right today. That's good. Right. Okay, cool. We're gonna get right into this. So let's I'll tell you what, before I share my screen, I'll just do a little bit of an introduction. For those who don't know me, my name is Adam Lowndes. I'm a Staffordshire-based wedding photographer in the UK. I absolutely adore weddings. I feel like it's just the job for me in terms of my personality. It really lends to it. More and more as I get into this industry, I find that it's more about like my connection to like people that is something that I enjoy, and not necessarily the photography anymore. Don't get me wrong, I love photography still, but yeah, it's more about making those great connections with people. And you'll see that element come out really strong in the way I strategize and use tactics around the way I use Instagram. So let's share the old screen and get a juicy PowerPoint presentation up as per usual. So let me get this up. Awesome. Great. Right. Great stuff. Let me just move some bits out of the way so I can actually read. Cool. Right. Cool. So yeah, Instagram marketing for wedding photographers, such an obvious title, but yeah, this is going to be useful to like anyone who's a photographer, or even people who aren't photographers as well. There's going to be something for everyone to pick up on in here. So I really hope that people get a lot from it. And if you think of any questions, just add them into the chat, and then my team member will send them over to me, and then I'll be able to answer them for you as we go. And, don't feel bad about, there's a bit of a Q&A at the end if you want to ask them as we go. I normally like it that way, because then if it's related to something that's already on screen, it helps everyone else understand what we're already on about, rather than me skipping all the way through back the presentation. So yeah. Cool. So a common problem. So we're going to get straight into it here. So what/when do I post? This is the biggest thing that everyone sort of worries about all the time, is this conundrum of, when's the right time? What should I post? Should I use... sorry, I was just seeing a message come through. That's the first questions to come through. I'll save that one for now, but yeah, we'll get right on. So yeah, when should I post? What should I post? How should I post? And all these kind of things. And for me, I'm a really logical person. I like to lay things out really simplistically for me and make almost like rules and guidelines into how I'm going to run my photography business, so that then Instagram sort of fits side by side with my business, and it's not some kind of afterthought as such. So jump over to the next slide. So this is almost like a very rudimentary way of how I sort of envisage what people's excitement levels are over time. So here we've got clients, and we've got guests. So this is their excitement levels, and you can see it's peaking on the wedding day. The guests are never going to be as excited as the couple, obviously, because obviously it's their wedding day. And then from that point, it's all kind of a bit downhill as such. This is when I tend to share what I call my sneak peeks, which we'll talk about later. And then this here is that random post that maybe someone drops on and just in the middle of nowhere and wonders why it doesn't perform very well. And then this here is the full gallery. So when the full gallery gets shared, there's almost a little more boost on the content. So the couple are, happy to see the wedding again. The guests even get a little bump, and then we go onwards. And then this here is just another little random post. So from me seeing excitement levels like that, I kind of understand in my brain that the closer I can post to the actual wedding day up here somewhere, in the days afterwards, the more excitement I can build around those photographs, and the more engagement organically that those photographs and, that post is going to get. So if we leave it a year to post after the wedding, or if we leave it like even a week, 2 weeks, whatever, it's always going to be dramatically decrease the amount of excitement and the amount of organic interaction through those photographs. I'm sure we've all got friends and family who have gotten married before in the past, and all we want to do is see a picture of them in their dress. We want to know what they look like on the big day, and that is a really important time there, because like the excitement for everyone is just absolutely peak. And something I always do with my couples is we share that moment together of sharing the photographs for the first time. And we do that through collaborations, which I'll go and show you a bit later when we go into this a bit more deeply. But yeah, I always choose, this is my hit point here. So 90% of the time on my Instagram, I'm just sharing my sneak peek or preview photos. If someone doesn't know what they are basically the first 10, 20 edited photographs that I would edit after a wedding to send over to the couple first to show them, hey, look, it was a really great day and I caught these awesome moments. So yeah, really, it's only really just my sneaks as such that I ever share. I will share some random stuff in January and stuff, but yeah, it's not really that often. So this is the random post approach. So this is something that I see a lot of photographers doing, especially wedding photographers, and may wonder why their reach organically is really poor. So first of all, they're using landscape photos. So I don't know if you know, but portrait photos are kind of the new in as such. I mean, it feels bad saying that because I've always been a bit of a landscape purist with my love of documentary wedding photography. But at the same time, you've got to understand that your phone screen is portrait, you know. If we want to catch eyeballs more, when we're scrolling through Instagram, a portrait photo is always going to catch more eyeballs because it takes up more phone space than a landscape photo is. So first of all, first mistake, landscape photo. That doesn't have to be the end of the world, though. All these things have kind of added up. So then a poor caption, there's not really much to it. We're not even mentioning the couple's names. We're not even mentioning any suppliers or anything like that. And then we're using very generalized hashtags that don't really do anything. And these hashtags here, I don't know if anyone's ever, clicked on these, but you can click on them and you can actually see how many times that hashtag has been used. Basically, the bigger amount that hashtag has been used, the kind of worse it is, because that means that someone is posting to that hashtag loads more. So I don't know if you've ever tried to use hashtag wedding, but a little example I normally do when I do in-person workshops is I'll use hashtag wedding. I'll go to the top of the most recent search for that hashtag and it'll be all those new photos. And then I'll refresh it 2 seconds later. And all those photos that were just recently there have already dropped off. So you don't want any competition really for hashtags. And also you want to think of like how you're going to be working. I'm a wedding photographer who works predominantly in Staffordshire in the UK. I much prefer to work close to home. I really enjoy it. If we're using hashtags that are globally found, so if you think to yourself, everyone's going to be searching for hashtag wedding all over the world, but I don't necessarily want to work in Singapore or Canada or anywhere. I just want to work half an hour from my house so I can be in bed that night as such. So yeah, poor post here. We've got no collaborations, no even location, no tags, no nothing. So that's how I normally see people posting, and then they're asking me, why is my post doing so bad, Adam? I've got this lovely photo of the couple here. Well, we all know these days that it doesn't take much to take great wedding photographs. The cameras are so intelligent these days. Obviously, there's a little bit of understanding of theory and light that goes into it, but the access to getting great wedding photographs has never been easier. So this is how I post. So I've split it up into 2 sections so that you can actually see everything. So this is the photo, this is the top, and then this would be the follow-on point to this post. So this is a carousel post. You can see this actually on my grid right now. If I say grid, it basically means the bit on my profile below all the sort of information and the links. Anything on there, that's my grid as such. So this is a post I did. You can see here at the top, it says Adam Lowndes and 3 others. That means that this post has been collaborated with 3 other people. Now, collaborations are possibly the most incredible technique that's come out of Instagram for ages. They allow you to say to someone else, hey, it'd be amazing if we collaborated on this post. And by doing so, the other people who accept end up with this post on their feed exactly how you've written it. So it becomes a shared post in a way, but they can't do anything in terms of edit it. They can only remove it from there. So here, this is shared with the venue and the two couple, each of the couple, so the guy and the girl on this photo. So straight away, we're harnessing the collective power of all those followers. So we're trying to drag as much attention in as possible. Then below, we've got the location tag. So, like I said, I want to work close to home, or I want to work at repeat venues again because I already know the staff and I've photographed there before. how many times do you hear, have you photographed at my venue before? It can be a real positive when you've actually got photos on Instagram, in those tag section, because people already know coming in from the start that you have photographed there before. So then in the bottom here, we can see that we've got the tags, and you can see I've just literally tagged pretty much all the suppliers on this. This is actually a carousel, 1 of 10 as well. So carousels work really well. So if you just post a single post image, that will appear on the news feed once. But if you post a carousel, that will appear many times. But what will happen is the next time that someone scrolls down my newsfeed, it'll actually be the second photo or the third photo in the carousel. It will feed them different parts of the carousel throughout different scrolls. So they're loads more easy to be engaged with. And Instagram is measuring, the time that people are on posts for. And if someone is sat there scrolling through a carousel, then that's more time spent on the post. I tend to do what's called merged carousels or seamless carousels, where you have like the photo over 2 halves of a post. And I always find that works really well because it keeps engagement up, keeps people's fingers swiping to the side and keeps them going, sort of thing. I use an app called Scroll, SCRL, to do that. That's an iPhone only app. Sorry for the Android users out there. There is an Android version, so if you reach out to me, I'll give you a shot what that is. It's not actually Scroll, because that's only on iPhone as such. So then you can see here, we've got the portrait orientation, so we're filling up more of that screen. And then we come down to the main crux of where a lot of the work happens for this post. So on this side, I split it up. So this is unique content for every post. So if you go on my post and look through my sneak peek post, which are pretty much all of them, you'll see this top bit here. This is always unique to the post. And then from here downwards, this is always the same. So this bit of content here sits in like a notes area on my computer, and which is linked to my phone because I'm in the Apple ecosystem as such. That content there, then I can copy and paste it into any of their wedding photos. So if I ever wanted to go back in and get that content and bring it out again, it's super easy. So the hashtags I use here, you can see they're all super location based as well, all to do with like where I want to work close to home. So I've got my mentions here. My couples put this together, and I'll describe how they do that in a minute. So that saves me a lot of time when it comes to actually, the admin work involved with using Instagram. I mean, you can see I've actually tagged the couple here and tagged the venue as well. So unique content wise, I used to be absolutely terrible at writing. I got a C in English and I absolutely scraped that at high school. And yeah, so if I can learn to write a bit better, I'm sure you can too. I listen to a lot of storytelling podcasts like This American Life, Criminal, This Is Love. I've got so many on the go, and listening to that just kind of makes you a little bit of a better writer. I've also got a line a day journal, which helps me just sort of practice writing little stories to myself and stuff. So yeah, if you're not practicing, you're not going to get much better at these, but I normally tend to just pull on real life events. And like we said before, doing these sneak peek posts so close to the wedding means that we've got those ideas fresh in our head. Whereas if you're posting this the next year, trying to remember, what Rio and Hayden said on their wedding day, you're never going to remember it. So yeah, it's always great to work when it's fresh in your mind as such. So moving all the way down, that's pretty much everything for that. You can see this has got some good comments and good feedback. So I share 3 posts when I share sneak peeks, and that can be reels, it can be a post, it can be the carousels, it can be anything that can appear on the grid as such. I always try and do 3 because I like to keep a little bit of formation on my grid as such, which you can see later. So you can see here, these are the reach for each of these posts, and overall 15,000 accounts reached, which is absolutely incredible. All organically, no paid ads as such. And, you can see here, even 8,000 views on these reels, 5,000 on this reel here. Now, there is going to be some bits of information that I fill in a minute. So we're just going to charge forward because that's going to come in a second. And occasionally posts, they'll absolutely soar. So you can see here, this one post here got 28,000 views. So this is a carousel post. It was accepted by the venue. It was accepted by both the couples, and the venue accepted it probably because it features the venue really well. It shows off the venue in all the photographs. Also shows a lot of joy from the couple as well. And yeah, it's just relatively a really happy and sort of really easily acceptable post for a venue to accept. You'll notice some venues are just getting absolutely bombed with collaborations now, so they won't accept it all the time. But yeah, this was accepted by the couple, the venue, and I think one other person as well. But yeah, you can see here, this is 15.6 across 3 posts, and this one here reached 28,000 on its own. So yeah, In terms of how, like, why and how they'll soar as such, it's all to do with like just engagement and then Instagram trying it on like new audiences basically. So if you have a good initial organic reach throughout your whole sort of circle and everyone else that you've collaborated with, then from that point onwards, Instagram will just try like putting it out to other people, maybe in the discover feed. So that's the search feed that you can go over to. And if it performs well there, then it'll push it to a few more and a few more and a few more and a few more. So you won't always have posts all like this, but occasionally, you know, if you try really hard with that organic reach at the start, you can then go on to get this sort of like bonus organic reach as such. So this is sort of how I view Instagram in a way. So I've got a little key at the top here. So these are the mentions I'm getting from other pages. So coming in from everywhere. These are the tags I'm getting from other pages. These are the collaborations I'm getting from other pages. That's the location tags that I'm being found for. So when I'm tagging a venue, you know, or tagging the area I'm in, that's the time people are coming from outside of Instagram or other people's pages and finding me. That's the natural SEO. So when I use words like Stoke-on-Trent or Staffordshire, just in general conversation or photography or weddings, that's a natural SEO that Instagram is reading, because Instagram reads SEO now and keywords and stuff. If you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. It's like a Google thing as such, but basically it means that the program is reading the text and it's feeding that content to someone who's relatively interested in it. So for example, if it reads the word wedding, it'll serve it to someone who's recently engaged, that kind of thing. So there you can see here, this is hashtags that I'm being found for. This is people sharing my story, and that's off at being found. So if someone's linking to me from a news article or whatever. So in my head, as I've always thought it, the more interaction you get from Instagram and loads of different places, and all these like lines coming back from other people's pages or offsite or, you know, search terms it being found for, the more chance you've got of then getting more organic reach. Whereas if you don't have any of this, you know, and remove it all, and you're just posting to just your followers such, you're only going to get as far as you're following. You need to really lean into every aspect of Instagram to build that spider's web, so that then you've got maximum chance of people finding you. I get found through so many of the weirdest and wonderful ways of people searching. People find me on my Discover page. People find me when they're searching hashtags. People find me when they're looking at locations or venue pages where I'm got a collaboration or the venue have posted my work. There's loads of ways it can find you. So I think this section is going to answer a lot of questions. So I can see like Matt, for example, here has put, when do you do your sneak peeks? Do you tend to share your best or just something to keep them engaged? So that's coming up. So hold that thought, Matt. We've also got Shay who's asked, should my business account be verified? I'll just answer that one quickly now. For me, my Instagram last year fetched me over 100 organic inquiries, so I didn't pay for a single one of them. It was just paid through hard work, basically. And that to me is insanely important. So by verifying my account, I'm just adding an extra layer of security, because it gives me the chance to speak to Facebook or Meta as such on an easier basis. And you know, if my account was to get hacked, which hopefully it never would, but at least I've got someone on side because I'm already paying that fee. It is very annoying that you got to pay $11.99 for, you know, them to protect something that's theirs and yours, but it's just one of the costs of doing business. And if you look at things like Hitched, for example, where people are paying hundreds of pounds a month, $11.99 a month for Instagram to be verified is not much, really. You don't get any increased reach from it or anything like that. Maybe if someone sees your blue tick and is impressed, I don't know. Maybe they don't. So cool. I hope that answered that question for you, Shay. So Matt, your answer to your question is coming up, so hold that thought. So I'm just going to take you through timeline of events. So as I've already said before, my Instagram is so ingrained in the way I do run my business. So every step of the way, there's Instagram involved, and every step of the way, there's things like pick time and emails and automation and things like that involved as well. But obviously today we're just talking about Instagram. But I find it really hard not to talk about everything else at the same time because of how ingrained it is. And building this strategy and these tactics like that enables you to then across the whole way use these things as almost a process. So you go, oh, well, I know I've got to post to Instagram tonight because this is where I share my sneak peeks or this or that, rather than, I really know I was meant to share something to Instagram about 2 months ago, but I still haven't done it. So yeah, if you can sort of hold yourself accountable by creating your own timeline, it's going to really help you. So this is my timeline. So I get an inquiry from the couple. This is my contact form on my website. You can see here, I ask for their Instagram tag. I also ask for their mobile number here. So I know a lot of people will text the couple to just make sure they got the email. There's also these questions here, which are like favorite movies of all time, go-to date night activity. I find it keeps it really light and it helps me assess like what their personality is like. And then down the bottom here, we've got the classic, how do you find me? So my form is pretty big, but all of these separate bits really help me understand the couple and then try and like reveal emotional hooks within myself that they're attracted to and we can build a relationship on as such. I mean, saying attracted to makes it sound a bit weird, to be honest. But yeah, just something that can link us together that's more than photography. Because when I'm selling over 2K wedding photography packages, I need something more than just, oh, I take pretty photos as such. So here, this is a video. So this is a video that I send over to my couples. And I send it over to them as soon as they inquire. So I'll send them an email back along with a video introducing myself and just saying, hey, how's it going? My name's Adam. I'm a wedding. Thank you so much for inquiring with me. I see you getting married at such and such a venue. I'm referred there. I really love it. It's such a great venue. So you can see here, this isn't going to play with any sound because we couldn't quite work that one out. But if you wanted to see one, I'm happy to send one over to you. So you can just drop me a DM on Instagram. But yeah, I just do them in my room pretty sort of haphazardly like this. Whatever my hair is doing or wherever I'm at, I just sort of take the time to do it because it just shows that extra effort when it comes to it. And yeah, it just helps build a personal connection because I feel like when someone's actually looking at you and talking to you, it's a lot more than just an inquiry, response would give. So after the inquiry, we have a meeting, normally Zoom, and we just go back and forth over everything that I do as a wedding photographer and why they need to pick me. After that point, then I follow my couples. So I follow all my couples. You'll notice on my Instagram page, I've got like almost 6,000 followers, but I only follow maybe 120 odd people, and that all those people are my couples. I don't follow anyone for inspiration or anything like that. If I go on Instagram, it's time to work. I don't want any distractions coming up on my news feed. As much as Instagram tries to throw wedding photography content at me, I actually don't want to see it because it makes me feel bad about my own work often. So yeah, we follow them with the booking. Obviously, we've got things like booking fee contract, but I'm not going to go into them because we've only got so much time as such. Just get a quick drink. So then from that point comes the lull. So we've got that time where the couple have booked. And then we've got all that lead up to when their wedding day is. Now, I have some couples who book 1-2 years in advance. So this is an important part here where you've sort of got to bring them into the fold and sort of teach them a bit more of how you work as a wedding photographer. So I find it really important every now and then, especially in January when I've got nothing to post, is I'll drop a lot of like educational posts. So this one here, for example, this is from last year now, but it did really well. It got over, like you can see here, 116 likes. And it was all about how I did my family formals and how they were unique and how I didn't need to take any lists off my couples. It was all pretty chill and don't worry about it. I'm going to handle it. And then you can see here, this is a lot of personal posts about me, just to bring them up to date with, who I am a bit more if they didn't know already. I'll do it. Oh, sorry. So I'll do a little stories about people, printing their photos off because I want to create a positive culture around people printing and displaying their photos in their home. This really helps increase print sales, but after all, I'm not really too bothered about print sales. I just want my photographs up in people's houses so that when people come round to their house, they go, oh, that's a nice wedding photo. So yeah, it just builds conversation. And then at the same time, throughout the year when I'm sharing other people's sneak peeks, so this one here is a reel I did at a wedding. And when people see this, they understand what it takes to make photographs like this. So if I pause it on the end here, you might see that photo and not really understand what went into it. So once my couple see that, hey, that couple had to stand on chairs for that photo to exist, You know, whereas if you just saw that, you wouldn't actually know that unless you put it in the caption and they happen to read that. Whereas if we actually show people, what we're doing there is we're building a positive culture around the couple trusting you. So when you come up with weird ideas of, hey, stand on these chairs so I can shoot through this mirror and get your reflection, they're all up for it. So what happens quite a lot is after this wedding, I shot another wedding where I, again, able to stand on chairs. This is not something I do often, but it just happened to bring them closer to this lighting in the air, which looked really cool, and I really liked it. And obviously doing something similar the week before, I was in a similar headspace. But that couple, the next week, I said to them, I said, I'm going to ask you something really strange now. I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind just standing on these chairs. And they didn't look at me weird. They didn't look at me gone out. They didn't say, oh, that's strange, I don't want to do it. They said, oh, yeah, like the couple did last week. And I said, oh, yeah, exactly like that. And they said, yeah, we're up for that, because they'd seen the effects of getting involved within the photos had taken. So this lull period here, this is the time where I like to say that you can stop people requesting photos from you. You can stop them sending pictures to you on Pinterest or whatever, heart-shaped group photographs. No one sends me them anymore because I'm actively showing them on my Instagram page what I want to make for them, and they're along for the ride. So this lull period should not be underestimated at all. My cold from earlier in the week's coming out slowly now. Sorry. So moving forward. So then we'll have a meeting just before their wedding day. So you can see here, I'm in a really dark room here. I've changed my lighting since then. It looks a lot more pleasing now. But during that meeting, we'll go through absolutely everything to do with their wedding day. And this is really important for Instagram purposes, because we're going to try and help their wedding day and push it in the right direction to give ourselves a chance to get the content that we want to put on Instagram. So I sit with my couples and I go through the whole timings of their wedding day. I don't send them a questionnaire, because what happens is if they fill that in and I don't like what they've put, it can become a bit frustrating to then go back through emails with each other, trying to convince them that, hey, you don't need to put down 25 group shots. I've got this in hand. Whereas if you talk them through every aspect of the day, you're guiding them as almost like a little guide along the sort of journey that they're going on and telling them what to do. At the end of that meeting, I'll then send these timings over to the couple. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that to happen. The couple will check the timings off, check everything's right, and then they'll send over their supplier list. And I get them like this. This is how I get them. The couples, I ask them specifically to just send me the Instagram tags. I'm not bothered about the name of the company. I just want the Instagram tags laid out like this. Maybe a little bit of formatting where they've just slightly misspelled something, but it's very rare that I have to sort of get involved. Whereas in the past, I'd be making these lists myself and it would take ages. Now, I know always hear a lot of the time that people struggle to get these lists. that can be the case if you're asking your couple to fill out a huge questionnaire beforehand, whereas all I'm really asking them to do is to check the timings that we've already done together and supply this. So if that's the only thing that they actually have to physically type down because I've done the rest, they do it pretty willingly, to be honest. So we get to the wedding day. Oh, I can see I've got another question. How do you get your behind-the-scenes shots and videos? If you're using another camera phone, do your couples mind you setting up to capture behind-the-scenes? Right. So thanks, Lynette, for that question. I really appreciate it. Basically, you'll see my behind-the-scenes videos in a minute. I use an Insta360 X3. It's a really great camera. It sits in the hot shoe, which is where the flash goes on my camera, and it films 360 degrees. So no matter which way my camera is facing, I can get the content that I need, as long as the camera isn't on a harness behind my back as such, and my body's blocking it. So the couples don't mind because they see the content that I'm creating beforehand, and I'm telling them about this beforehand. So I tell them in that meeting, which was here, that I'm going to be filming some behind the scenes content. And if they don't want me to share it, that's perfectly fine. But what happens is the couple have already seen, these reels from other weddings, and they want to be in those videos. I have shy couples who are awkward in front of the camera and who are really panicked about having the wedding photos taken. But as soon as they have their wedding day, they can't wait to be in these reels. It makes no sense at all. I don't really understand it, but I have my couples say, I'm going to do a behind the scenes video for you guys on the wedding day. Would you be okay with that? And they go, oh my God, I was dreaming of you asking me that question. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but this is what people are saying to me because it's just extra content for their wedding day that they can then enjoy it and watch afterwards. So I never really have anyone say no as such. So moving forward as such. So sorry. Yeah, so come to the wedding day. This is all content time. So obviously we've got the big job to do in terms of capturing the photographs throughout the day, which is obviously the most important priority job. And then just on top of my camera here sits my X3, which I have on pretty much all day. And yeah, it just does the job for me. If the X3 dies, I'll just grab a bridesmaid with an iPhone and I'll just give her my iPhone and get her to film me as such, like I've done here, and I'll just ask her to stand back and make sure she gets both of us in shot. It's very rare that the X3 dies now because I've actually got another one and another one and another one because they've sent them to me before in the past. Extremely lucky there because they are very expensive, but yeah. So I can also film on an invisible selfie stick. So this is an invisible stick here. So you can see it films me. And this is really important that with this content, it's not necessarily always about the couple. It's a sort of a 50%, 50-50 split about me, about how I work, and about the couple's day. So the couple's day obviously features, but often, most of the time, I'm including me in the shot because that's all about my business and all about the way I'm working and how I'm marketing my business. And if you go on any of my videos on Instagram or wherever, you'll hear me talking in the video, like in the videos, not like as in a voiceover. You'll hear me actually talking to the couple. And that relationship is really important because, like I've already said, future couples are watching those videos and they're seeing how I behave. And then they either want to book me or they understand more about what I'm going to do. Also, I'll tend to do little videos to camera like this that I can put onto my story, tag the couple in it. The couple will then share it. Oh, their couple's friends then see me, my face on Instagram on their friends' things, and they know that I'm going to share some photos. So then they naturally drop over and follow my page. So the wedding day is really important. Everything from this side here. Sorry, I'm struggling with my voice a bit. 1 second. So everything from here to the left is all created and put on my phone or put on my Insta360 and just kept to one side. So you're only at a wedding day once, so you've got to capture as much as possible while you're there to then use it different points throughout the year when you need to get it. Mostly for the sneak peek, obviously, but you can use it for loads of other stuff. I've got absolutely gigs upon gigs of videos now that I can make TikToks with or Instagrams with, and it's so great to have that because no one else has got it, and it's such a unique thing. Whereas this here, for example, this Instagram story, this is to post on the day. So I'll normally go and do this while they're having lunch or something like that. Or in the morning, I'll arrive half an hour early just to get a bit of content and film the setup of the day and things like that. I'll never really share anything of the day because I don't want to show people the wedding before everyone else has seen it. You know, that old adage of, you know, the bride doesn't want to be like seen on like social media in a dress before people have actually seen her in real life in a dress. So I always tend to just film myself on the exterior of the building and things like that. So moving forward. So the wedding has passed. Then within 72 hours, so Matt, we're going to answer you now about when's best to share these. So within 72 hours, we then go on to share the sneak peek. So this is my email layout. So you can see this here. You can see this is how I send all my email content. You can see registration. They can register there. Each of them, there's a gallery link. And then there's a little bit down here that I put. So this is a templated email. You can see that sort of names at the top there. But you can see here with the sneak peeks, I'll give them this little copy and paste wording that they can then share. Oh, sorry. That they can then share with their family and friends. So I'm giving them something to send to their family and friends. This shows them a window at the sneak peek. So if they want to go on and see the content themselves, they can. So I have not shared the sneak peeks at this point. This is just me sharing them with the couple as such. But I'm giving them a little bit of a blurb here to put around their WhatsApp groups and things like that to build a bit of hype for the wedding. They can go and see all the sneak peeks there before I've even posted them to Instagram if they want to. This is their family and friends. And they can register for the full gallery as well. So that's a little bit of a PicTime thing that I'm doing there. And PicTime, if you don't know, is a gallery hosting software where you can host your wedding photographs. So then this is the layout of how the sneak peeks look on the website. And then after the couple respond to say, oh my God, love the photos, I'll then drop this story. So this is a countdown story with a registration link to the website. So I'm going to harness all that traffic I'm getting into like either my Instagram or through my website to get people registered. You can see here, I've tagged everyone in this. I want everyone to be able to share it. The couple, this will go out like say 24, 48 hours, 72 hours after the wedding. The couple have shared it to their story. I then get people coming to follow me because they want to see the photos once they're released. I start this countdown. The countdown normally lasts about 24 hours. And yeah, so then the next day, we have sneak peeks part 2. So you can see here, this is how they generally tend to look. So I normally tend to like mix it up on my grids. And this is why I post through. I can put dark photo, and then light photo and make it look a little bit more designed as such. And you can see here, I've shared 2 carousels and I've shared a reel as well. This was a vlog of their day, and I'm dropping this all within about half an hour of each other. So this is a bit of an extreme thing, and I wouldn't recommend doing it as such, because if you go from sharing nothing to sharing 3 posts within half an hour, Instagram's going to think something's up and probably shadow ban your account or ban your account or something. So, start slowly with this kind of stuff. I've been doing this for years. So you can see down here. So this is what the reel looks like. It's a complete vlog of their day, building up hype and loads of different things and showing how I've worked. And what's great is that then the couple can then go over, or the guest or whoever wants to, and they can scroll through a complete carousel of those sneak peeks that we've already shared. And then I normally tend to use a couple of photos that are a bit more, I want a bit more attention on them if I want to do a separate carousel, or I'll do a separate reel on how I made a photo and such. It's important to note that, once again, this content up here is all unique on each post, but then you can see on this one here, down here, and then down here, these are all separate. So, sorry, these are all copy and paste. So they're all the same from there downwards. And it's all talking about driving traffic through the link in my bio. So that does one of 2 things. It obviously gets them registered to see the full gallery in the end, but it also gets them on my Instagram profile and interacting with it. So if someone sees a post and then goes into it to find who's done it, they'll then sort of happen across other photographs, and it keeps that engagement up and keeps people interacting with your sort of universe as such. From that point there, so you can see here, this is the link. So if someone clicks on my links at the top, you can see there's a webinar here, obviously this one, and then they can inquire. There's a wedding gallery, so if they click on that, they can go through to view their friends' photos eventually. Or there's a bit of education link there, that's something else to do. But I normally keep these links pretty much the same as such. So let me just pause. Oh, sorry, let me just pause that. So yeah, the couple will come through and they'll get registered. Oh, sorry, the guest will come through the link there, and they can register for the final gallery. This then keeps everyone in the gallery and keeps them engaged with my brand and keeps them engaged with everything that I'm doing further on. So I've always been a case of, when you go to a wedding and there's like a photographer taking your photo and you never see those photos in the end, and it's always really frustrating. Well, yeah, that's like something I'm trying to combat. And I speak positively about the fact that they're going to pay me a lot of money. So it would be really great for them to, like, all their guests to get an enjoyment out of me as a wedding photographer. So that's a really great way of doing it, is getting everyone registered for the gallery. And then when the couple eventually get the full gallery, which is within 12 weeks for me, the couple can then see that list of who's registered, and they can then tick off who they want to come in and who they don't want to come in. They can also hide any photos that they don't want people to see as well. But like I say, that's less Instagram, but more pick time and gallery automation stuff that we sort of talk about. But as you can see, this is all built into my business as an extreme straight through. For me, I know Matt asked about, the sneak peeks I tend to share, like, are they just for the couple, or are they, to keep people engaged on the platform? It's a bit of both, really. Like, I think on a wedding day, often we're there to obviously take photos of everything else going on, but it's really important that, like, we get something for ourselves and keep our creative brains engaged. But as when I say this is like 5% really. Some people always talk about, oh, take one for you, one for me sort of thing on a day. But I find capture the day in the best as possible. And then maybe I want to create something a little bit more special like this with Flash or something. and I can do that. And, and then I already know when I'm taking this, I'm like, that is definitely going on my Instagram. I can almost tell straight away as such. You can see here as well, I've shared these are landscape photos. This is like from last year, I think it was. So I'm more down with the portrait game now. I remember to turn the camera around. But yeah, so then within 24 hours after I've shared all those sneak peeks onto Instagram, and the couple are like loving this little fanfare moment where they're getting loads of attention. They always do. Like it's I don't know why, it's just such a cool thing that happens. Oh, sorry. I'll then message all the suppliers. So when we said about the suppliers earlier, so if you remember this list here, I'll then literally just click on all these names on Instagram, and I'll go in and I'll send them this message. So this message is automated. So all of this message is automated except for this bit here, which is a link I have to get from my client, from my gallery hosting software. So I'll then go in and I'll message them all this, and I'll say, hey, thanks so much for playing a part. Here's the photos. So this obviously is doing like a number of things. We're taking a lot of heat off the couple. So the couple are not going to get asked about the photographs. They're going to get, we're going to share them with the supplier so the couple don't get bombarded with questions of, oh, can you send me some pictures from the photographer? The suppliers don't start ripping photos off our grid, which I know everyone hates. Like, they start screenshotting stuff and posting it to their own, or they share without permission and stuff. I mean, to be honest, if a supplier posts my photo and tags me, I really don't care as such. It's not an issue. And as well, like, this is going to build up hype like abundantly afterwards. So what then happens is that these suppliers go on here, they've got access to these photos that we've given them here, and they can choose any of these photos to then post onto their grid, and they can tag me in it because there's like a usage rights thing here on what they sort of need to do. Once again, like I said before, if someone does something that's not quite what I normally do, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, what you then get is you get that spider's web that we talked about before increases. So not only have we built all that hype around the sneak peeks and they're being collaborated with and shared to all the different people, but at the same time, all the suppliers are now posting. So everyone's coming to our profile from there as well. And the suppliers don't normally, like, they don't normally make a massive effort like we do. They'll share a couple of photos and just put, oh, it was really great to be at Steph and Charlie's day the other day. So then naturally people come through to my profile because they can see me tagged, and they then see the abundance of, sort of strong content that I'm making. And they then go on to sort of feast on everything else that they can see there. But what we're doing is we're creating this like kind of ripple effect of the photographs like being shared and this big moment of everything happening there. So yeah, it's really important, that is. And I absolutely love doing it. And the suppliers, all of them are like my best friend now because I send them photos before they even ask as such. So I just saw there's a couple of questions. So 1 second. So Shay asked, are the social media blasts expected by every couple? Do you choose not to show some weddings? Oh, good question. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about like, you want to show what you want to shoot. And for those people who don't know what this means, is it basically means that as a prospective couple, looking around, they normally tend to look for themselves. So if you want to shoot, for example, destination weddings, you should be sharing destination weddings is what it means. I personally am not massively into this because I feel like you can become a bit like a tabloid in a magazine where you're just showing, the more camera pleasing couples, I'll say as such, and you're making judgments on people's appearances and things like that. Whereas I know a lot of couples that I've shared, like every couple that I've shared, they all have an amazing amount of reach to give you through sharing these photos. So it's worthwhile sharing at least 1, 2, 3 shots from their wedding because you can build that excitement up and get repeat work off them. I've had some friends' weddings from couples who I would never expect to be friends with those couples. So you don't want to isolate yourself to, for example, just sharing photos of, and I'm doing this in inverted commas, good-looking couples as such, or, weddings on beaches and stuff. I just think that in this day and age as well, we're creating like a negative stereotype of what weddings need to be. And I think if we just show normal weddings, that's really sort of enjoyable for everyone. And everyone can have a great time in enjoying that content and seeing actual real happening. I hope that answers it. Kind of long-winded, trying to not trip over myself as well. But yeah. Cool. So jumping through, so that was the complete process. This will be available to rewatch again when the TFC put it up. But yeah, so I just wanted to leave you with something for a moment. So this is obviously a little bit of fun now, but this is how I basically see Instagram for beginners. The train is leaving. They ain't even on it. It's so tough at the moment. The amount of wedding photographers on Instagram, it's such an oversaturated market. And like I said at the start, the barrier to entry is really, really easy now. You know, you've got all these styled shoots as well that people can just pay £200 on to go and shoot a model couple and then post it on their grid and get work from that. So it is really, really tough out there at the moment. So you don't want to be the person, if you are going to use Instagram, that is just posting one photo with a small little caption and not really much to it. You want to be putting all your effort into every single post when you're on there. You know, I always ask, like, oh, should I post every day? Should I not? Well, as you can tell, I don't post every day, but when I post, I make a massive ripple effect throughout Instagram. I really try and like push as much as possible to make as much impact. Whereas like if I was to just post one photo randomly, it wouldn't really make much impact and just wouldn't really be worth my time. So if you are starting Instagram now, you need to embed as much of this information as possible because there's loads of stuff that people aren't doing. For example, reels and behind the scenes. So there's loads of time to sort of catch up. This is how I see Instagram for me. So it's a crowded train. I'm there in the middle and everyone's bumping into me around, you know, and the pickings are becoming a little bit thinner on the ground. And then this is how I see TikTok for everyone. So I know we've been talking about Instagram, but my following in TikTok over the last 2 years has just absolutely skyrocketed. And it would be silly for me not to mention how important of a platform that is to me now. Just this year alone, the most bookings I've had this year has come from TikTok. I think I'm on like 5 just from TikTok, for example. So yeah, it's a platform that you really shouldn't overlook. And the best part of it is not everyone's on there at the moment. So if you can make a start on TikTok and, you know, that kind of sharing the behind the scenes footage suits your character, you can make a real run for it at the start with a platform that isn't saturated by loads of photographers. So yeah, and the best part is normally what you post to Instagram, you can post to TikTok as well. So yeah, it works both ways. So you'd be stupid not to, really. And that kind of brings us to the end. So yeah, bit of a Q&A. Oh, right. Okay. William. Hi, Adam. You're doing an awesome job tonight. Well, sorry, I didn't read that out. That sounded very big headed. Were you nervous when you first started talking to the camera? Yeah, there's a video I put up every now and again, and it's actually in this group at the top. This is a Facebook group that I've got that helps people for free with social media. But yeah, there's a video in that group where I'm like sitting like miles away and I'm like just like talking really slowly and not stumbling over my words and stuff. And I don't really understand that I'm going to be cut off after every so often. So I, you know, get interrupted and stuff. Whereas now it's just become easier and easier as I do it. I do take a lot of attempts at some videos, especially like when I'm doing full minutes. But if I'm just doing an everyday kind of video or a video to a couple, I think it's nice to have some like falls in there and mistakes because it just shows you're a real person and such. But all you've got to think about is if even 100 people watch that video, so say 100 people watch your story, which in terms of Instagram metrics doesn't really seem like that many. But if 100 people were stood in a room watching you talk, that'd be amazing. They all want to hear about your wedding photography business because they stayed and watched the whole video. I think that's like where you got to try and compute it to real life instances quite a lot of the time, and you know how people would feel in that situation, rather than getting caught up in metrics and looking at rock star photographers that have got loads of so we've got loads of questions coming in, so I'm just going to try and keep on top of these. How do you do the collaborate thing? Never seen it. Can you walk us through it? It's super easy. So as you go to post a photo, so you can't do this after you've posted. You also can't schedule a post with collaborations either. So as you go to post a photo, there's a little bit that says tag. As you go on there, it says invite to collaborate. You can collaborate with 5 different people. They don't all have to accept for it to post. It'll post anyway, and then as people accept it, it'll then put that at that time. It'll then put that on their grid within the time frame that you posted it. So for example, if a venue doesn't accept for 4 days, it won't appear at the top of the venue's grid. It'll appear wherever that point was when you posted it as such. But yeah, if you go on there, make sure you're clicking the invite to collaborate each time. because else you might tag people. But you can scroll down and you can see it'll say like collaborators, yeah, whatever that word is. And then it'll also say underneath like who's tagged, so just a standard tag as such. So next question. I've noticed you use a lot of lighting at weddings. What do you recommend? So lighting wise, so for those people, it is, I think this has come from my TikTok. I think someone's seen probably some videos I've been using. A lot of flash. So I use a lot of flash on dance floors, mainly handheld. So when I'm using my Insta360 camera, it's a shame. I've actually packed my bag for my wedding at the moment. I'm actually gonna take this down a minute so you can actually see me. So yeah, when I'm using my camera for the weddings, I need my Insta360 on quite a lot. So to be able to have that, I need to have my trigger on my camera. So my Godox XT2 trigger, that it has a little slot for the hot shoe where I can put my Insta360 on. But then also recently, like I think this is like a big change that's just sort of, it's been happening for a few years now, but I've just got more so into like LED continuous lighting. So I'll often, and this saves me a lot of time with editing, I'll often put like LED lights up in dark venues for ceremonies and stuff. And I've actually had registrars actually compliment me. And the most recent LEDs I'm using are these new Hobelite Avant I've got. And yeah, they're really good. I've really enjoyed using them so far, and they don't look sort of out of place. They've got a kind of nice look to them as well, and people have complimented them. But yeah, the registrar at the last wedding was saying how much he loved that I put this light up because he literally couldn't see what he was doing before. So yeah, you sort of tend to win over registrars, which is a super rare thing. But yeah, those lights, I'm definitely already coming up with new ideas to use because I've been using flash for a while, and those lights are a bit new on the scene for me. So it's like my new toy, the Hobelite. Yeah. So Chris says, what do you do when couples don't give you their Insta details? Happens quite often for me, where they ignore any requests for them to follow me or give me their details. I think this is all about like an environment that people are creating. So my couples, like from the first meeting, we have a conversation about, you know, how involved I am with their day and how like that personal connection is really important. If you're a photographer that just books a couple over email without speaking to them, you can't expect much else from the connection because you've really set your stall out there on, you know, what you're prepared to give, which is not a lot. You're just prepared to email them back with a booking form, basically. Whereas we sort of set everything out at the start, and I talk about everything I've told you. I obviously talk about it in a more client-friendly way, but I do that on the first Zoom call with my couple. So even before they've booked me, they know what they're getting into as such. And then when it comes to them booking, I'll follow them and I'll just drop a message saying, you don't have to accept. I just tend to follow people just so I can keep up to date with what's going on. It's really great as well because they all post like normal, boring, everyday life stuff rather than like my friends who are posting like stunning pictures in like Tuscany and stuff. So it makes me feel great about my photos when I see them like, you know, failing to do like simple photography stuff that I can do. But also it really helps me understand them as people and who's important to them because people post photos to their Instagram grid of people they love in their life. So then when you get to the wedding day, you're sort of looking around and you're like, oh, I've seen that person before. I know they're important because they went to that festival with them or did that thing with them. And it just helps build that connection and such. Cool. I hope that helps. Sadie says, what do you do when you have a quiet month? Yeah, quiet month. What's that now? But so, what are you creating? Sorry, I've just had another question. So yeah, Sadie. So quiet month wise, I'll just be building TikTok content. So I did my last wedding of last year on November the 2nd, and then I did my first wedding of this year mid-February. So I had a big sort of slot free there. So I started just making loads of Reels TikTok content that I could post to both platforms and really just hammer it, because in that quiet month is usually the big booking times, which are January, February sort of thing. Not so much as big as he used to be, but still carry a bit of weight to them. But yeah, I was posting at one point twice to TikTok a day for about 2 or 3 months, and that really helped grow my following quite fast on there. So yeah, any effort I've got, I'm putting it into those types of videos at the moment. So Ryan says, what are you creating your reels on? I just recently got Sorry, I've got to move the thing across. I just recently got an Insta360 and will be using it for my first wedding tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Loving your content. Also, do you record the full photo session with the couple or just snippets? So yeah, so the Insta360, I've got a 512 gigabyte card in my Insta360 at the moment, which is beyond mad amounts. I can record about 10 hours on it, but I can't actually record that 10 hours non-stop. It'll only record for maybe an hour and a half at the max with the battery. So I tend to do more of the snippet approach with that, and I'll just get little snippets throughout the day. That then also helps massively the editing of that content afterwards, which can be all consuming and take me about half a day sometimes to put those reels together. So, and then you also asked what you're creating reels on. So I use a app called InShot. I believe this is Android as well. I'm not 100% sure, but there's also a load of others that you can use around reels. And in my group that I put my social media plus wedding photography / videography, there's loads of other suggestions on there. But yeah, it's just something that I've loved using, and I do all my editing on my phone. I don't touch my computer with the videos because I just think if someone's going to look at it on their phone, I need to be viewing it through the phone and understanding how that's going to be received. And yeah, I think I've answered everything from that. So I normally tend to know when good things are coming as well. So it's only one button on the Insta360. You click it, it comes on, it records. You click it, it stops recording, goes off. It's really great. So how long did it take for your Instagram to take off? So it's still taking off. Like literally, this has been going on for years and years and years. This is slow growth. This is not fast stuff. Like you can't expect this to happen like within a moment. I'm not one of these snake oil salesmen who's just like got big overnight. This has been incrementally happening for ages, and the audience I've built on there is only getting stronger each year because of the effort and the time I put into the platform. And the way I use the platform in terms of those sneak peeks and in terms of, you know, sharing the videos, and it's very unique to what I do. So people know as soon as they see my content that it's my content because it doesn't blend into everything else. And it's about building that kind of like constructive strategy over time that, you know, Lucy, when you're posting your content, they go, oh, that's Lucy's content sort of thing. So yeah, the more and more you build up, the more community you build on there and the more people engage with stuff. But yeah, what you won't see on Instagram, which I haven't talked much about tonight, is the amount of work I do in direct messages. So I am constantly messaging people. People are messaging me, I'm messaging them. And that's just building an understanding with Instagram that this person likes Adam and Adam likes this person. So we're going to feed some of Adam's content to that person more often. Sorry. So where was I? So Justin says, do you bother with Facebook posts at all or stick to IG and TikTok? So Facebook, I just auto post now from my Instagram account. I find Facebook is pretty much dead for business these days, and I only have so much time, and I find it's better spent on other things as such. So yeah, there's a little button you can tick if you link your accounts together, which just pushes it over. And I even pushed like the seamless carousels over, which do look a bit funny when you view them on Facebook because it doesn't quite work the same as Instagram. But for me, it's just about keeping up some little bit of presence on there that if anyone comes across, they see the content. And what's great is it posts the reels over as well, so people see that great content. Not an Instagram James says, not an Instagram question as such, but do you find that most of your work now comes from social media, or do you still need to get out there and do wedding fairs? So for you, James, I will bring up my spreadsheet and I'll tell you exactly where all my stuff comes from. So just give me 2 seconds and I'll just read verbatim straight off my spreadsheet. So last year I had 383 inquiries altogether. 104 of them were from Instagram and 49 of them were from TikTok. So that just goes to show you, like, you know, almost half were from those two platforms. So Instagram, I booked 12. So that was my top runner. That was TikTok. I booked 5. So my TikTok was still growing at that point. So as I've already said, I've already booked 4 on TikTok this year. So that just shows the change that's going on there. Facebook, I booked none last year. Search engine, I got 1. 5 people that saw me at weddings went on to book me. Nothing off Bridebook. Don't really get anything off that platform anymore. I still love to do wedding fairs. Wedding fairs lean on my personality. I'm really good in person. So yeah, that really works for me. I got 6 off wedding fairs last year. I got 5 recommendations from friends, and I got 3 recommendations from venues. And that equals 37 weddings overall. And my sweet spot is like 35 to 40 as such. But yeah, hope that helps. And I think, we got another question. Oscar says, what advice would you have for someone starting out on TikTok? So just, it's going to sound mental, this is, but you need to like doom scroll for a bit on TikTok to understand the platform and understand what will work. But what you can't do on TikTok is you can't leave people waiting around for something to happen. You've got to be feeding them entertainment from the moment they scroll onto your video. It's really sort of an all-consuming platform because people can be so brutal. They can get to your video and just scroll past straight away. What's really great with TikTok is an analytics section where it shows you precisely where the majority of people dropped off viewing your video. So it's like a little graph that kind of starts at 100% here. I mean, okay, 2 seconds in, it falls off a cliff because like nothing's happened in the video as such. But yeah, what I would say is try not to share anything that's over manicured. So a lot of my behind the scenes videos, I could actually tidy up a bit and edit the colors just a little bit more, but I like them to look a little bit more raw and a little bit more sort of human. A lot of people are backing the sort of everyman on TikTok at the moment. So if you can make yourself seem a bit more like an everyman and not someone like me who's booking 37 weddings a year and doing all right for themselves, then you'll do really well. I had a friend. Oh, you got another one. Last question. This says so. Lucy says, "Are your TikTok videos just your Insta reels?" Yes and no. So there's certain. I know what will work on my Instagram, and that's the more personality curated stuff that's got me in it. So, for example, my vlogs do loads better on Instagram than they do on TikTok. Whereas on TikTok, quick videos of funny things or silly stuff that's happened at weddings or really great photos that pay off straight away really help with that. I also get paid for TikTok videos now. Anything over 1,000 views that's longer than a minute, I get paid for. That started this year, and I think it's on like 260 quid already. So yeah, it's going all right. I mean, I never got paid anything from Instagram, so yeah, I'll take it, sort of thing. But yeah, okay, that's the last question. So everyone should receive an email tomorrow to rewatch. I might need to be reclarified with that. But yeah, you can be able to watch this over again tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to the Flash Centre. They saw my Instagram, so they were sucking into it as well. They asked me to do this webinar, which was really great, and I really appreciate it. They've been super supportive. They're one of the only people that I've ever seen push a webinar out as a sponsored post before, which is how some of you may have found this post, which is really great. I obviously pushed it as well, so it's been a really great united front of that, which I've really enjoyed. But yeah, you should get the email tomorrow. There's going to be the Flash Centre. They sell flash and lighting and loads of other bits and pieces, cameras as well, and they do loads of other stuff around that kind of thing as well. But yeah, they've given a little bit of a code as well in there, so you should be able to get a bit of money off with Adam 5 tomorrow. That'll get you 5% off. There's like a little wedding photography gear section. They've got some stuff in there. Something that I saw in there that I really like that's got a bit of money off at the moment is the spider holster. So this is like a bit of a clip that goes on the bottom of your camera. I really should have had my camera next to me here. This is really frustrating me now. It's like in the hall ready for tomorrow's wedding. But yeah, it's a little clip that goes on your back bottom of your camera, and then you can put a clip on your waistband of your trousers or whatever you're wearing, a belt or something. I mean, your camera just clips in there, and it's really great. It keeps all the weight on your hip rather than on your shoulders, the other harnesses or bags do. So yeah, if it was my pick, I'd have a look at them or have a look at some of the lighting, like the Hobel light or something like that, see what you can get yourself. I think that goes on for a couple of days as well, but all that information should be in the email. Thank you so much for joining. I could literally thought we were going to get like one question, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Cool. Thank you so much. And now I think this should end, or I might have to click the end button. Hopefully the voice in my head is going to tell me what to do. Go for it. I can end the webinar. Right. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Hope you enjoyed the rewatch. And if you've got any questions, I'll happily answer everything you've got to. So drop me a message either on Instagram at Adam Lowndes Photography or join my social media plus wedding photography videography group. Catch you later. Bye.